What if I told you the best linebacker in the 2027 draft class is in South Bend? KVA. Kyngstonn Viliamu-Asa. And I'm sorry, I probably butchered the hell out of that name, my man. But he's not just a tackling machine. He is a modern defensive chess piece who can play the run, cover space, blitz the quarterback, and become the centerpiece for just about any NFL defense out there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda, where we're data-driven and prospect-focused. As always, I am Draft Yoda himself, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd. And today we're breaking down Notre Dame linebacker Kyngstonn Viliamu-Asa. I'm just going to call him KVA for short, or Mr. Asa. If you know, you know. And yes, we're going to say the full name because your linebacker one, people need to learn it. I just got to learn it myself. So KBA comes in at a 9.05 out of 10. It makes him my number 33 overall prospect, number one linebacker in the 2027 class. It's a fascinating evaluation because tape is not really the debate. You know, when he's healthy, he looks like exactly what the modern NFL wants at linebacker. He can trigger downhill. He can run sideline to sideline. He can cover. He can blitz. He can chop. He can dice. He can do everything you need. You know, he is linebacker one. There's one massive checkpoint on the evaluation, and it's the medical. Season-ending ACL injury against Syracuse in 2025 is the thing NFL teams are going to serve. You know, how does he recover from the ACL, and is he able to come back to full health this season? You know, KVA came out of St. John Bosco in California. And if you follow high school, you know what that means. St. John Bosco is not just a program, it's one of the powerhouses in America. It's a place where you don't just play football in high school, you're getting prepared for Saturdays. They produce talent every single year. If you go to one of their games, you're going to see college scouts up and down the field. And as a senior, he finished with 114 tackles and 13 for loss. He won the Butkus Award. He was named the 2023 LA Times Player of the Year. You know, dude had everybody and their mother really just excited to see what he does in his next journey. And he was a five-star recruit, you know. He was a five-star in Rivals. He was a four-star on ESPN. Every major program wanted him, Ohio State, USC. He landed at Notre Dame. Rolled early in January 2024. You know, he was not coming to South. He didn't go to South Bend to sit back and wait. He came knowing he was going to compete, and as a true freshman, he competed, and he played in all 14 games. That's not easy at Notre Dame. Freshman linebackers usually have to earn every snap, especially in a defense with veteran players and high expectations. And KDA got on the field, recorded 37 tackles, picked off his first career interception against Purdue. You know, freshman season was not about becoming a star initially. It's about proving he belonged, and he did that. 2025 is where the evaluation changes. As a sophomore, he started looking like one of the best linebackers in the country. In 11 games, posted 48 tackles, 7.5 for loss, 3 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. That's production in every category. Run defense, backfield disruption, coverage, turnovers, impact plays, you name it, he checked that box. He was not just collecting 5-yard downfield tackles, he was creating disruption. And His PFF grade was 4th nationally among power forward linebackers. That's not bad. The first thing that stands out when you watch his tape is the run defense. He defends the run as well as anyone at the position. He triggers downhill fast. He sees the play. He trusts it, and he goes. There is no hesitation. There's no false steps. There's no waiting for the ball carrier to declare. He plays with conviction. That is what separates good linebackers from high-level linebackers. Good linebackers react. Great linebackers anticipate. And KVA plays like he knows where the ball is going before the offense fully gets there. When he attacks downhill, he meets the runner at or behind the line of scrimmage, and that is a big deal. Modern linebackers cannot just pile up tackles. They have to create negative plays. They have to erase early down efficiency. They have to force second and long and third and long. And KVA checks every single one of those boxes. It's not just cleaning up, it's dictating to the offense what they're going to do. Second thing I love about him is his range. This is not an old school linebacker who lives between the tackles. KVA can cover sideline to sideline. He has the movement skills to erase angles. When outside zone stretches horizontally, he can flow with it. When the quarterback tries to hit the perimeter, he can get there. When the offense is trying to use motion and misdirection, he has enough athletic ability to recover. And that matters in today's game because offenses are trying to make linebackers wrong. They spread you out. They use tempo, RPO. They use tight ends detached from the formation. Big slots. We like to call them. They are running. They use running backs as receivers. They force linebackers to think, move, and cover in space more than they ever have. And he's shown that he is not just surviving in space. He can win there. Third thing that makes him very special is his alignment flexibility. Notre Dame used him as a chess piece. He lined up in the box. He walked out over the slot. He came down on the line. He blitzed. He covered. He fit the run. That versatility is one of the biggest reasons he is linebacker one. Because NFL defenders do not want linebackers. NFL defensive coaches do not want linebackers who can only do one thing. They want movable pieces. They want players who let them use disguises. They want linebackers who can stay on the field all 3 downs. And that's exactly what KVA offers. He does not have to leave the field on passing downs. He doesn't have to be protected schematically. You can build packages around him. And that is the difference between a good college linebacker and a real NFL defensive centerpiece. Let's talk about the coverage for a second. He is not just an elite. He's not just an athlete chasing the football. He can hold up in coverage. He had an interception. He had multiple pass breakups. And more importantly, he looks comfortable operating in space. He's not a corner. He's not a safety. But for a linebacker, the coverage profile is very strong. He can drop into zones. He reads the quarterbacks. He can close passing windows. He can match backs and tight ends. He has enough range to shrink the middle of the field. And that matters because NFL teams are consistently hunting linebackers in coverage. If you can't cover, you become a target. If you can cover, you become gold defensively. And KVA can cover. The other piece that really jumps off the page is the blitzing. He turned 23 pressures into real backfield disruption. And what I like is it's not just that he blitzes, it's how he blitzes. He times it well. He understands when to trigger. He can attack interior gaps. He can come off the edge. And because he's so good in coverage, offenses cannot always know what he is doing before the snap. And that is where linebackers are dangerous. If a defense can walk him up near the line and the offense doesn't know whether he is coming or he's dropping, it creates stress. Offensive linemen shift their coverage and then he's not there. And that creates plays for other people. It's truly a chess piece on a board that allows other things to happen. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's gold for any defensive coordinator out there. If you're looking for a game to watch, Boston College game is one of the best examples of the full profile. He closed that game with 2 sacks, 6 run stops. That's impact. It's not just being around the ball. It's taking over parts of the game. You see the downhill trigger. You see the physicality. You see his timing as a blitzer. You see his ability to finish plays in the backfield. And that game in particular showed why he is not just a stat sheet linebacker. He changes how an offense operates. And if you don't account for him, he ruins your plays. Okay? Nobody's perfect. I've said it in every single one. I'll say it in every single one. Nobody's perfect. My first concern is obvious. It's the medical. You tore an ACL in November against Syracuse. It ended your season. It's the key item in the file. And because he already had a right ACL tear earlier in his career, NFL teams are going to deep dive on those knees. The question is, how does he recover? Does the movement come back? Does the trigger look the same? Does the range look the same? Does he trust the leg when he's attacking downhill? And I feel like those are real questions. The good news is he's expected to be back full healthy at the start of the 2026 season. But expecting and proving are not the same thing. And the 2026 tape has to confirm his recovery. Another thing that will be scrutinized on him is his size. He's currently around 230 pounds. That's the lighter size for an NFL linebacker. It's not a deal breaker. We have several linebackers that are under 250, but modern linebackers, they're not all 250 thumpers anymore. But against downhill power, the lighter frame can show up. Big guards climbing to the second level are going to test him. Heavy personnel is going to test him. NFL running games are going to test whether he can stack, shed, and survive contact between the tackles. I think the instincts and the trigger help offset some of this, but the size question is real. Third question I have for him is tackling consistency. He missed 7 tackles. It's not a crisis, but for a linebacker whose game is built around range, trigger, and finish, the finish has to be a very, very tight detail. And at the next level, missed tackles become explosive plays. The windows are smaller, the backs are stronger, receivers are faster. And so when you arrive, you have to finish. That's just the next layer for him to prove in 2026. Again, it's a small layer, but it's there. So why is KVA my LB1? And it's very simple. He's the most complete 3-down profile in the linebacker class. There are linebackers who can thump. There are linebackers who can play the run. There are linebackers who can blitz. There are linebackers who can cover. KVA gives you all of it. He defends the run at a high level. He can cover tight ends. He can cover backs. He can blitz with timing. He can align in multiple spots. He plays fast, plays quick. creates negative plays, and he fits where the NFL is going. The concern is not the tape. It's not the production. It is the medical. If the knee checks out and he looks like the same player in 2026 as he did in 2025, he's not just my top linebacker. He's a legitimate first-round talent. He could climb very quickly if he's healthy and shows up. And that's why the 2026 season is everything. It's not because he has to prove he can play. He already proved that. He has to prove he's healthy. And that is the difference. If the range is still there, the downhill trigger is still there, if the coverage movement is still there, the blitz timing is still there, then the medical concerns fade, and they fade quickly. And when it fades, the tape takes over, and the tape is phenomenal. Can he climb for my number 33 overall? Absolutely. Linebacker value in the NFL is tricky. Teams do not always take off-ball linebackers as high as their tape deserves. But with that said, special ones go early. If you ask any Panthers fan, I'm a Panthers fan, is what I'm going to use. If you ask any Panthers fan, would you take Luke Kuechly at 7 again? I don't think you'd find a single person that says no. He was special. And I think KDA may not be Luke Kuechly, but I think KDA is special as well. You have a 3-down player, you have a guy who can affect the passing game, he can cover, he can blitz, he communicates, he can stay on the field. My question is, can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, the tape is good, and we're talking about a first-round linebacker. My grade on him is a 9.05 out of 10. My number 33 overall, my number 1 linebacker. And I've said it multiple times, the major question is the knee. That is the gate this evaluation has to clear. When he's healthy, he's a first-round trait, first-round profile, NFL starter, and the type of linebacker who can become the heartbeat of a defense. But that's just my board, What do you think about KVA? He's one of the best linebackers is he one of the best linebackers in college football? Can he become a first-round pick if the medical checks out? Where would you have him ranked among defensive players in the 2027 NFL draft class? Drop your comments down below. If you enjoy these player evaluations, we build them around film, projection, and analytics. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep putting in the work. Our goal is to have over 100 player profiles before college football kicks off. I am Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.